Welcome to Warp Factor 5, a Star Trek podcast brought to you by TrekCore.com. I am your host, Alex Perry.
Velocity, Warp Factor 5.
Course and speed set, sir.
Warp Factor 5 is a Star Trek Rewatch podcast where each week my guest and I discuss and rate the next 5 episodes of Star Trek in in-universe chronological order, beginning with the Enterprise NX-01 in the 22nd century and traveling forward from there. That might sound a little strange. Most Star Trek podcasts would start with the original series and work through the show in production order from 1966 to 2026. But I've always been obsessed with how 60 years and counting of Star Trek history have created an interconnected narrative and shared universe that connects in fun and surprising ways across 12 television series and 14 movies when you watch the show chronologically based on when the series are set. Star Trek has captured my imagination and that of generations of fans, and so I hope you'll join me on this journey in discussing and rating every episode and movie. But it's no fun to do this alone, and so each week I'll be joined by a guest to deep dive into the next 5 episodes of Star Trek, their standout moments, how they contribute to the larger Star Trek story, and give each episode a warp factor ranking between 1 and 5. And my guest this week is the man who needs no introduction, the only person who could help me launch a new show rating every episode of Star Trek. It is Mr. TrekRanks himself, Jim Moorhouse. Jim, welcome to Warp Factor 5, and thank you for being my inaugural guest.
Hey, Alex. Great to be here. I am so excited to talk a little Enterprise and to rate some Star Trek and rank some Star Trek and give some scores. And I love this structure you come up with, doing 5 episodes at once and kind of talking about them in blocks. Really great idea. This is going to be awesome to participate in and to listen to moving forward.
Thank you. Yeah, I have always wanted to rank every episode of Star Trek, and at one point I did rank TNG, DS9, and Voyager on sheets of paper on the wall of my bedroom.
Oh, I know all about those.
Yeah,
yes.
You know the F story, yeah, where I would, if an episode was my favorite, I would give it an F. And I kept giving them Fs and there was 9 Fs. Anyway, where the spirit of the Fs is transporting forward into Warp Factor 5, and there's a lot more Star Trek to rank, so gotta do it.
I mean, the doing 5 at a time is such a unique idea. I mean, there's so many podcasts that do 1 at a time, and I like this blocking everything together as 5 at a time.
All right, Jim. Well, I feel like across... how many episodes of TrekRanks are there now? 200 and...
There's 229, about to be 230, but whenever this drops, there might be a few more.
I feel like I have a pretty good handle, and also across 10 years of friendship, on your Star Trek fandom. But as I was sitting, because I want to ask my guests a question of each episode that sort of tells me a little bit more about them as a Star Trek fan, I actually realized I'm about to ask you a question I don't think I know the answer to, even though it's the question that you ask everybody in the elevator at STLV. Jim Moorhouse, what is your favorite Star Trek series?
Okay, yeah, my favorite, you don't know this, huh? My favorite Star Trek series. I mean,
they're all your favorites. That's what I understand Jim Moorhouse's Star Trek perspective to be. But if you were going to a desert island and you could only take 1 DVD box set with you, which is it?
And I that's how I think about whenever I'm on TrekRanks.com where I rank Trek. All my ranking systems is about if I can only watch one of these for the rest of my life.
Right.
That's how I rank. It's not by quality. It's not by I know quality comes into play, but it's always about if I had to choose one of these 2 episodes for the rest of my life, which one am I picking? That's how I always boil down my final ranks. So, and that's how I do my favorite series, and it's Deep Space Nine. It has to be. I mean, it is. It's just the most layered. You get the most out of it. If you're only going to rewatch one for the rest of your life, you get the most out of that one because you get so many flavors of Trek in that series.
That is probably what I would have guessed your answer would have been, but I also could have seen it being TOS because you sort of, wanted that TOS-iness of it.
Yeah, I mean, I love TOS. TNG's probably second just ahead of TOS.
Yeah.
And then after that, it gets complicated now with some of the new ones. But I have been afraid to chime in on any of the new era ranking of Trek since the Kurtzman era began. I have not done it, so I've decided to wait until the Kurtzman era has ended, which it's kind of upon us maybe now.
Could be.
Sooner than we think. So someday I'll do that.
In terms of, and by that you mean like ranking the series.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
haven't ranked all. I've never put out there kind of like these are my favorite of the
Uh-huh.
Kurtzman era series, just because it's kind of hard to do it when some series are still in production and still
Yeah.
going. So
There's a lot of recency bias involved too.
for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, D Space Nine is the quality there and the quantity is just so solid.
Deep Space Nine. Love it.
So you're telling me you're some kind of a time traveler?
That's one way of putting it. Maybe this will help clear things up. This is how we keep an eye on what's going on. You might call it a temporal observatory.
Well, in today's episode, we will be discussing the first 5 episodes of Star Trek Enterprise Season 1. Broken Bow, Fight or Flight, Strange New World, Unexpected, and Terra Nova. These episodes aired between September 26th and October 24th of 2001. America was still in the aftermath of the September 11th, 2001 attacks just 15 days earlier. US forces launched Operation Enduring Freedom, beginning the invasion of Afghanistan, and anthrax-laced letters were being mailed to senators and newsrooms. At the movies, Denzel Washington's Training Day was the dominant film of early October, and Friends, CSI, and ER topped the television charts. And on October 23rd, the day before Terra Nova aired, Apple released the very first iPod. Jim, I'm curious. My sense is you watched all of these. You watched them between September and October 2001. I would love to hear, like, to the extent you can remember, sort of watching these episodes, tell like where in life were you, where in the world for you, how did you watch them, what were you thinking at the time about this Enterprise thing that was happening? Like, take me back to that period of time.
Well, thinking back to that period of time, the first thing I thought of was, wow, that was still 3 years before I was able to be on an episode of Star Trek Enterprise. So that was the first thing I thought of because everything in my life revolves around that moment.
Before
So,
Star Trek and after Star
right.
Trek.
So I was like, God damn, that was still 3 years before that freaking thing miraculously happened. Like, unbelievable I mean, it's unbelievable that happened. And that was still 3 years before that. That's crazy to me. So that's really cool just to think about that these were airing and that was still off in the future 3 years away. So yeah, I thought about this. I mean, professionally, that was a cool time for me. That was probably the peak of my professional career. I was living in Chicago. I had been there for about 5 years. I was there for another 5 or 6 or 7 years after that. I'm just going to tell people I worked for U.S. soccer and the U.S. World Cup soccer teams, and we were just coming off the '99 Women's World Cup, and we were about to go to the 2002 Men's World Cup, and those were two of the biggest soccer moments in this country's history, and I was, right in the middle of both of it. I was on the field for the '99 World Cup, win and penalty kicks, and in 2002 I was in the locker room celebrating our victory over Mexico. So that was really the pinnacle of my professional career at that moment and at that level. In terms of watching Trek, that was incredible. Just, I mean, Broken Bow, and we'll talk about it in a second, but such a great pilot. It's still my all-time favorite pilot. Not spoiler alert, but it's still my all-time favorite pilot.
100%
It was an incredible launch. I'll tell a little story. I remember that was back in the days of AOL and some of those AOL chats, and I remember I just sent from my US soccer email an email to Brandon Braga because we all had his AOL email. I just said, "Hey man, that pilot," short email. I just said that pilot was the best pilot to date. It's real short and tight. Like, it was just really good. Bop, bop, bop. And he wrote me this night note back. Like, that was really nice to read. Really appreciate it. It really means a lot. Boom. I was like,
You
that
still
was
have
cool.
it?
No. It's probably still I still have that email. So
Yeah.
it's probably It's probably in there somewhere. But yeah, so and then and I like these episodes. So we'll talk about that in a second. But obviously, it was a weird time too, right? It was right after 9/11, and we
Yeah.
kind of I think a lot of people were a little bit younger. I was older, so it was dealing with the world and kind of how much the world was changing right in front of our eyes at the time was definitely a weird thing as well. So yeah, but that was a good time for me for sure.
Yeah, to have discovered that the first iPod came out during this period is
Oh my God.
wild.
I remember one of my young interns coming in with the iPod, like, look at all these songs I got on here. I'm like, what is that? There's songs on there? I mean, I
Yeah.
got my Discman here, dude. What
Yeah.
do I need that for? I mean, and then kind of he taught me how to do it, and I eventually got one. So classic.
Warp 2, sir. Warp 5.
All right, let's talk about our 5 episodes. We're going to discuss each episode and give them a warp factor rating, ranging from warp factor 1 up to the coveted warp factor 5. And if you want to join in at home and rank these episodes along with us, half warp factors are acceptable. So we begin with Broken Bow, the series premiere of Star Trek Enterprise. Earth launches its first starship of exploration, Enterprise, on a mission to return an injured Klingon to his homeworld. Jim, tell me what you think about Broken Bow and give me your warp factor rating.
Yeah, I just previewed it. Listen, still my favorite pilot all time in Trek. There's now 12 of them, I think. 12, 13, I lose count. 5.0, warp factor 5.0.
4.97. They're matching our speed.
4.99. Warp 5.
It is my favorite pilot. I think it's spectacular. I love the Temporal Cold War. I love the Suliban introduction. It's perfect. I love the NX-01. We're going to talk about all these things eventually, but yeah, it's a perfect pilot. Even the song, which I hated, but I love.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it really is a terrible song. I don't think she's a good songwriter, but I love it. I love that song.
Yeah.
But
there's a reason why she's never won an Oscar.
I mean, I wish they'd just gone with The Calling. Just go with The Calling. That commercial was so good. Anyway, what about you, Alex?
I love Broken Bow. I totally agree. It's the best of the Star Trek pilots. Always has been, probably always will be, just in terms of it very quickly and capably introduces you to this new show, to the new characters. There's a ton of really interesting setup for the rest of the show. There's great action moments. Like, the way that it sort of uses the Star Trek universe is really, like, it's really cool. It's both got, like, really cool TOS vibes, but also that kind of really, like, super comfortable, we've been doing this for now 14 years, you know, and we know what Star Trek is and we know how it functions, and we're going to make things feel a little more, like, dangerous and a little more new, but at the same time still very comfortable and still very sure of itself. Like, yeah, this one's a warp 4.5 for me.
Okay.
And it's just so good. There's so much to like about it.
Keep your shirt on, Perry. I forgot. I need to because it's, my TrekRanks.com. Check it out.
Yep.
TrekRanks podcast. I have to give my TrekRanks ranking. It's number 2. It's number 2 on my TrekRanks.
Number 2. Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
It's number 2 on my overall out of 98 episodes on TrekRanks. So for Enterprise. So it's clearly, if you're number 2 on my list, you are a 5.
You are a 5 out of 5. Oh, absolutely.
You're a warp factor 5.0.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's classic. And I love that because it does have those TOS vibes. They did such a good job with that. The trifecta with Connor and Jolene and Scott Bakula was so good.
Can't be afraid of the wind, Ensign.
Yep, you cannot. So good.
All right, Fight or Flight. Enterprise finds an abandoned ship filled with corpses which appear to have been used for an experiment. What do you think about Fight or Flight?
Pretty clear I'm going to have the highest ratings of any guest you have on here.
As it should be.
Fight or Flight, number 44 on TrekRanks.
Yep.
So right in the middle of the pack. And I really like this episode a lot. Number 44. I'm giving it a 3.5 warp factor rating.
Yep.
And I just think they really nailed the ambiance and the tone of this episode. The tone is perfect. It's spooky. It's scary. I think Hoshi's fantastic in it. I really like this. It's a great little mystery. It's really clever. I think the scenes where Bakula's pushing back on, oh yeah, what if it was a ship full of Vulcans?
Yeah.
Or humans? If we would have just left? I don't think so.
Yeah.
We need to go back.
What's the matter? The tension bothering you?
Not in the least.
Must be great not to let things bother you. No remorse, no guilt. What if they were Vulcans? Think you would have reacted the same way?
They weren't Vulcans.
I said, what if they were Vulcans? Would you have just left them there? Hanging like slaughtered animals? Don't you think maybe you would have taken them down? Tried to figure out who they were. Made some effort to contact their families.
We don't know where they came from. It would be very difficult to locate their families.
We didn't even try. What about you? What if they were humans? Would you just stick your tail between your legs and run? Leave them there to rot? Am I the only one who's having a problem with this?
You said it yourself, sir. Whoever killed those people are probably coming back.
So we should avoid confrontation at any cost. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you Vulcans do? Bury your heads in the sand and then just fly on by?
We, Vulcans, would have never gone on board that ship in the first place.
You got an answer for everything, don't you?
We have a code of behavior, and we try to obey it.
You may not believe this, but humans have a code of behavior too. Took a few thousand years, but I think we're starting to get it right. Can't believe I almost ignored it.
I think this episode works on every level and is a real solid second episode.
Yeah, it's great because it sort of combines the sort of frontierness of the NX-01 doesn't quite work properly yet with the weapon systems not really working, right, and the crew doesn't really work properly yet because, Sato's working through her stuff and the sort of the big three dynamics still kind of coming together. The universe feels kind of scary. I mean, you never really learn who these aliens are who have killed all these Axonarians and strung them up to take stuff out of their body. And it's very well done and very well put together. And I think the best scene in the episode is the dining room scene where T'Pol's all right, well, we're moving on with our day. And Archer just can't get off of it. And it's it's very well done. The scene is really awkward and the conversation's really awkward. And then you get to the end of the scene and Archer's basically just nah, I'm the captain. I get to decide. And he's basically we're building our way of doing things right now. And every single one of these choices we make will inform how everybody who comes after us and the kind of choices they will make. And so I'm choosing to go back. And that's so well done.
It really is. Because both decisions made sense. There was a part of it makes sense. Okay, well, what can we do? Let's move on too, but I really like that. That's a good episode. They do a good job with that one.
Yeah, and also the the universal translator stuff.
Yep.
And having
the
to
early stuff with that, the EV suits.
Right. It's things that you had just never really seen other Star Treks kind of grapple with before, and they kind of grabbed it head on, and it was fun to kind of see that because it made it feel fresh and it made it feel new and different.
I appreciate them taking their time with that stuff early on.
Yeah. Yeah, this one gets a warp factor 3 for me.
Yep.
But I do really like it. I think it's a really nice follow-up to Broken Bow.
Excellent.
Strange New Worlds. An Enterprise landing party believes T'Pol is conspiring with a species of rock creatures on a strange Class M planet. What do you think about Strange New World?
Okay, so this is interesting. So on episode 188 of the TrekRanks podcast,
Yep.
we did our top 5 psychic transfers.
Okay.
Also called Faltor Pandemonium. Okay. I'm not a huge fan of like psychic transfer and kind of psychic takeover episodes, and it's kind of happening in this episode a little bit. Early on, I remember maybe not loving this episode that much. It is number 63 on TrekRanks, so it's almost in the bottom third, not quite. And I will say it's a 3.0 on my warp factor, but so 3.0. But I have really, really grown to like this episode. And again, I'm going to talk about it later in one of our block discussions. I have really grown to like this episode. I think it's really well executed. And I think it's a little bit underrated in terms of how executed across the board this episode. Don't want to spoil what I'm going to talk about later, but I think they pull this episode off. It's a nice little narrative thread that runs all the way through it. Yeah, I think they do a good job with this episode. I think it's a great story. It's not super, super original, but it's also not a ton of stuff we've seen before, and I think the performances across the board are really strong. And it's a little bit more of kind of figuring stuff out early on. Like, they're just kind of winging it and figuring it out and learning as they go.
Yeah, this one's 2.5 for me, warp factor 2.5. So like right down the middle. It's really interesting in the way that like, again, it's an episode where they're like doing something they've done in Star Trek before. We are exploring an alien planet and something is weird or different about it. But by virtue of it being this crew in this environment, like they don't have all the same set of tools that the other crews have. And, you know, they sort of do have to kind of like figure out their way through and how to make this work. And there being this core tension underlying everything between Tucker and T'Pol in this episode, but that already really having been seeded in episode 1 or 2. So, you know, it being a real feature of that here, it's really good because there is a lot of dramatic tension between these characters, and particularly in the Archer T'Pol Tucker dynamic that you know is going to wash out as the series goes on. And of course it doesn't, because they're going to become this strongly bonded trio. But like, it's really interesting to go back to the start and kind of see how they were sort of set up as being this like quite adversarial set of characters, and this being the like put them under pressure. And Tucker breaks. I mean, he completely breaks, and all of his like innate suspicions about T'Pol completely take over. I think it's great. We get introduced to more of the Enterprise crew. I kind of wish they had done a little more of that later on in this, with Cutler and Novakovich. Like, I wish we had seen even more of the sort of supporting crew as the series had gone on. That was a really nice thread they kind of, teed up in this episode.
Well, they did pretty good with Cutler all the way through.
Oh, they absolutely did. Yes, for sure.
I thought Novakovich died like 3 times in this episode. I mean, when he beamed on board, I thought he's dead.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I guess he's not dead. And then they're like, oh, and then the doctor goes, he's going to die. I'm like, oh shit, he's going to die. And then it's like, oh, he's not going to die. Okay.
Yep. And every time I rewatch this episode, and I've probably seen it 10 or 12 times, every time I'm like, wait, does he die? Yeah, he doesn't die.
I'm the same. It's so funny.
Unexpected. When Trip Tucker assists an alien vessel with repairs, a friendly encounter with one of the crew leads to a rather unexpected consequences. Jim, unexpected.
Okay, the big problem with unexpected is that, and I remember this distinctly when it aired, was like, oh, come on. We're 4 episodes in and they're doing the guy gets pregnant episode.
Yeah.
Only 4 episodes in. I mean, I know you got more ideas than this. This is very disappointing. So I do remember being very disappointed and really not liking this episode that much when it aired.
Yeah.
However, I'm going to defend Unexpected right now.
Okay.
And I'm giving it a 2.0.
Yep.
Even though it's number 84 on TrekRanks, that is almost bottom 10, but not quite bottom 10.
Yep.
I will say the biggest problem with it, other than what I just said in terms of just the idea, like, come on, you're 4 episodes in and you're doing this idea. Come on. The biggest issue is the tone. And I am a big tone guy. You got to get tone right with me. The tone of an episode has to be consistent, has to be solid through the whole episode. You can't be flopping around on your tone and have it be inconsistent and then expect me to connect with an episode. And they don't do that here because there are scenes where it's like they're playing it for laughs and it's like, dude, you have an alien growing inside your body. You should be concerned.
Yeah.
And earlier in the episode, they're very concerned about the cool stuff in this episode, which is like the aliens are awesome. The Xerillians are really, really cool alien. I wish we'd seen more of them. I love the hitch and the ride and the plasma wake of other ships. I love all the way they're portrayed. I love their production design. I love the actors. Randy Ogilvy's amazing. And the change of atmosphere, the decompression things, all really well done. All that stuff's super cool. And they tell all of that part of the story. Even how he gets pregnant, all that stuff's really well done when you watch this episode with a kind of an open mind. That stuff's really, really well done. But it's hard to get past the tone with Trip back on the ship and people laughing and kind of making jokes and him kind of rolling his eyes and not taking it that serious when it's like, you'd be taking this really serious.
Yeah.
If you were pregnant, and it's hard not to mark it down for that.
Yeah, this one also gets a warp factor 2 for me as well. And I was talking to one of our friends, Caleb, and he made this really great point about Unexpected that is sort of lodged in my brain, which is that it shares something very fundamental with Threshold, an episode that a lot of people really don't like. Widely seen as being the worst episode of Star Trek. Unexpected is nowhere near the worst episode of Star Trek, but
as I always say, Threshold, great episode until the tongue drops out.
Unexpected, great episode until the nipple shows up.
There you go. It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. The first half of the episode is great. All that stuff about like going over to the Xyrillian ship and they are a really alien species, and Tucker is, again, he's a really unpolished character in early season 1.
Yeah.
Like, he's kind of a dick in a lot of ways, and it very much not the sort of refined diplomatic Starfleet personnel type from later series. And I love seeing that, him getting thrown into the mix with these completely alien people. And then the nipple shows up and the episode, kind of goes downhill from there. The Klingon stuff's kind of interesting, and that's sort of a fun element to it. But that piece, and Tucker being really kind of petulant about being over on the alien ship, and Archer basically having to be shut up and do as they tell you, and all that stuff. That part of the episode's really good, but it does hit a cliff.
Mr. Tucker again, sir.
Put him through. Yeah, Trip. How's it going?
Not good. I don't think I'm gonna be much help over here. I'm having a little more trouble adjusting than I thought I would.
What's the problem?
I feel like I've got a fever. I'm having trouble focusing, breathing. I really think I need to get back, Captain.
Stand by for a minute. T'Pol, put me through to Trinal.
Stand by.
Captain Archer?
My man's not doing so well over there.
He'll be fine.
With all due respect, I've known Commander Tucker for 8 years. He's tough as nails. If he says he's having problems, I've got to believe him.
When he came out of decompression, he refused to rest. I strongly suggest he'd lie down for a while.
You really think that'll make a difference?
We have a good deal of experience with alien visitors.
I told Trinal you tried to get at least an hour of shut-eye. He says that should do the trick.
I just want out, sir. I'm not kidding. I can't take much more of this.
Trinal says they dealt with this before. Just 1 hour. If you're not feeling better, we'll bring you back.
It's not gonna work, Captain.
Take a nap, Trip. That's an order.
Archer out.
I was okay with that. I like the way you said that. I don't think he's a dick. I think he's unpolished. I think that's I think that's a good way to describe it.
So it's one of those episodes where it's like everybody's focused on the pregnancy part, as well they should, you know, but like there are actually things about this episode
that are really good,
pretty enjoyable.
Yeah, but the pregnancy really does torpedo it.
Terra Nova. Enterprise investigates the mystery of a lost Earth colony whose inhabitants disappeared decades before, but that doesn't mean they left. Jim, what do you think about Terra Nova?
I'm so curious to see where you put this. I have no idea where you're going to go on this. I know a lot of people don't like this episode. I actually do like this episode, although I probably need to redo this. I have it lower than unexpected on my ranks. It's number 85. I probably should have it a little higher. I also have it at 2.0. And it's a little rote. It's a little been there, done that. But I kind of love it. I find it to be a comfort watch. There's really nothing to dislike about this episode. Nothing wrong with this episode. It's executed pretty well across the board. It's not super original. There's not a lot going on here that we haven't seen somewhere along the lines. But I like the execution with Archer. I really like the point where he's just like struggling with, this is a problem I need to solve, and I don't know how to do it, and I'm not. And he's got to piece all the puzzles together, because it's like, first he's thinking, how do I get him back to Earth? And then T'Pol's like, well, are you sure you want to bring him back to Earth? And he's like, you're right, that's probably a bad idea. And at one point, she's like, well, you could just throw him in the brig and bring him back. And he's like, well, this is not a slave ship. I'm not doing, I mean, it's like, there's a lot of good conversations and stuff about that. The performances are great. I have a real surprise later in one of my block picks on this. And yeah, I just find this a comfort episode. I don't see really any major issues with it. I like it. It's a 2.0, mostly just because it's a little rote. So I'm curious where you are, Alex.
I am in exactly the same place. It's a 2.0 for me too. You know, it's like conceptually, there's a lot to really like here, right? Like, it's Space Roanoke, you know? Like, the lost colony that nobody's heard from and nobody's really sure what happened. And a lot of the, like, lore-building stuff around the, like, early days of Earth's exploration beyond its solar system and early attempts at colonization. That's really interesting, because you've never heard any of that kind of stuff before in previous series. And it does have a really strong TOS vibe to it, right? Like, there's real, you go down to a ghost town and a bunch of, like, grown-up kids, are giving you grief. And, there's a lot of, like, you got to just talk some sense into them, So it does have that really strong TOS kind of vibe to it. But at the same time, all of that is a great set of ingredients, but it just doesn't quite pull it off into anything super original, Like, you feel like you've watched this episode a number of times before.
I mean, there's so many elements from Voyager. Nemesis, Friendship 1, and Natural Law, all three which aired in the last 3 years prior to this. And there's so many elements from those three episodes kind of baked into this that it's like, none of it feels super original from that perspective. But Shale from the Overside, man, I'm down with it, though. I'm still down with it. I mean, I can watch it anytime.
Oh, it is definitely not Digger Filth, that is for sure.
It is not Digger Filth. And Eric Avari, man.
Hey, I mean, any episode with Eric Avari is good by me.
Yep.
The trial never ended, Captain. We never reached a verdict. But now we have. You're guilty.
Okay, so that's talking about each of the individual episodes. So let's look across the 5 episode ratings that we've given and see where it comes out in terms of rankings. Okay, so yeah, I think probably perhaps not unexpected. Ha ha ha, no pun intended.
right in the middle.
Yeah, it sort of ends up being, so Unexpected and Terra Nova, we both gave it 2, so that averages to 2.0 for both of those. Strange New World would then be in the number, sort of, if you're going 5 to 1, in the number 3 position. You gave it a 3, I gave it a 2.5, averages a 2.75. Fight or Flight takes the number 2 position, averages 3.25, and then Broken Bow, the number 1 position with 4.75. So came out the gate really strong.
So you know what that plays to is the narrative that it started strong, and that because so each episode we ranked got a little bit lower ranking.
Yeah.
Which is part of the narrative of the series out of the gate.
Enterprise season 1 and 2 have the same problem, which is they start really strong, they hit a real middling patch and then they end strong. Yeah. And everybody's perception about those 2 seasons is drawn from like a 10 episode stretch. Not the full 26, but like just a 10 episode stretch that really kind of locked in the narrative about the series, which is a shame because actually there's only 20 episodes out of almost 100.
Yeah.
Okay, so then if you look across your rankings and my rankings, you averaged a 3.1, I averaged a 2.8, and collectively we averaged a 2.95, which, you know, it's above average.
No one's going to outrank. No one's going to rank anything higher than me because I'm an apologist.
Exactly.
I am pathetic. Okay.
No, you're just a man who knows what he loves.
Yep.
Performance reviews will be held tomorrow starting at 0800 hours in the wardroom. Check your team leaders for the schedule. Dismissed.
All right, next we will discuss some of the things we enjoyed most across this whole block of episodes. So each episode of Warp Factor 5, we're going to identify across the 5 episodes that we're discussing, one pick for the best series regular performance, the best guest performance, best production design, so that can be things like ships, effect shots, music, anything you want to, best quiet moment, and best loud moment. And so each of us will pick one thing across the 5 episodes that we want to highlight. So let's start with best series regular performance. Jim, what was the best series regular performance across these 5 episodes?
Okay, I thought about this, and the one that really stood out to me, I'm not even going to get into secondary systems because it was really one choice that stood out to me, and that is Connor Trenier in Strange New Worlds.
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons I rate this episode. I think the guy, I like your word on polish, but I think he sells this episode in a way that he plays up this mystery because you really don't know what's going on before you know they're being affected psychotropically. You're like, are there rock monsters? Is she talking to people?
Yeah.
What is going on? What is happening? And by the end, when he is unhinged and off the rails, it's really an interesting performance because he kind of loses it. And his anger and his inability to control himself and being right on the edge, I just think it's a really, really strong performance. And I love, even from the point when he's in the tent and he's like, something's in my bag.
Yes.
And then, are we allowed to shoot? He's like, I think you can if it's in your sleeping bag. I mean, it was like, Connor Trenier is was one of the big surprises of the whole series, I think, for people, that he was such a popular character and one of the strong performers in the series across 4 years. But I think this episode really was a strong performance for him, playing that unhinged, just that showdown with T'Pol in the caves. I really found it impressive.
Stay awake, Travis. Can't afford to have you going out on me.
Try, sir.
Cutler, you okay? If you're waiting for me to pass out, you're wasting your time. You might as well have your friends come out now and do whatever they're gonna do.
It's Paul.
How are you doing?
Who's that?
It's the captain, Trip. Are you all right?
He's irrational, sir. Mayweather and Cutler are nearly unconscious.
Both of you listen to me very carefully. Novakovich may be dying. Turns out the pollen contains some kind of toxin our sensors hadn't detected. He's responding to medication, but his odds of recovery would be a hell of a lot better if we treated him sooner. The doctor and Malcolm are synthesizing ampules of inoprovaline. We're going to have to use the transporter to get it to you, but it's imperative that you inoculate yourselves as soon as possible. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Taking an injection isn't going to change a damn thing, don't you see that? They're planning something, Captain. First us, then all of you.
Höleye moyet.
Sukas faz nira. Lisala kandandanda. Tawoleye morat.
What's going on, Hoshi?
She says Tripp's going to kill her, and I don't think she's imagining it.
Say one more word of that gibberish, and I'm going to split you in two.
Yeah, my runner-up for best loud moment is the scorpion in the sleeping bag.
Oh, in the sleeping bag.
Yeah.
I love that. That's a great pick.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great pick. I mean, he sells it really well, like, you know, the sort of like unhingedness of it, and also manages to keep the performance, you know, compelling and interesting enough, because sometimes when you're kind of playing crazy, especially after like 15 minutes of watching someone do that, it's like, all right, I get it. You know, but like these scenes are still really tense and really compelling, and yeah, he does a great job.
I mean, he's got a couple lines where he's just like, I'm gonna answer her, I'm gonna have to shoot her. Right. I mean, it's like it's good stuff. It's a good performance.
My pick is Linda Park as Hoshi Sato in Fight or Flight.
Oh, excellent. Yes, I'm glad you picked that.
She does such a great job. I mean, we haven't really seen a series regular main character, senior officer of an Enterprise before who is kind of wishing that she wasn't there, right? Like, you know, there's obvious, like, you really feel the tension in the character throughout this whole episode of, there are many compelling reasons for me to be here, but just generally, I just don't vibe with any of this. Like, you know, I don't like really being on the ship. I don't like really being in danger. I don't really trust myself. And like they pack it all in, from the quick scene with Archer where she's like, can I move my quarters to the other side of the ship so that the stars are going in the right direction, you know, right up until the end when they're just like, just talk to the guy, right? Like, and she's like, I don't think I can, and it's like, just do it. And you know, and obviously like she ends up kind of saving the day and gets a ton of confidence from that. Like, it's just a really nice way immediately out of the gate for Enterprise to be like, we are going to do something a little bit different with this show that you haven't seen before. And our second episode, we're going to spotlight, you know, this character who is not sort of in the, I mean, aside from being exceptionally smart and exceptionally good at her job, is not in the sort of classic Starfleet officer kind of mold. And in all kinds of moments throughout the episode, you really, like, Linda Park just does such a good job of surfacing Hoshi Sato's, like, just complete lack of comfort with this entire situation. And, you know, the slug kind of subplot is a little bit of like a, you know, it's a little bit obvious in terms of like, well, it's not in its right place. And, you know, like, and you're not in your right place either. But I think they do a good job of, in the scene with Phlox, where he's like, maybe the slug should go teach, right? Like, where they're like, you know what we're doing and we know what we're doing and we're gonna, you know, we're tying this all in. So yeah, like, I just think it's a really fabulous performance.
I'm having trouble with the word pump, sir. I've got the processor searching for synonyms. The translator's not making a whole lot of sense to him, sir. He's getting frustrated. I think he's running out of patience, Captain.
Then forget the translator. Do it yourself.
Do what myself?
Talk to him.
That's impossible, sir. I haven't even learned their basic conjugations.
Talk to him, Hoshi. It doesn't have to be perfect.
You don't understand. I don't even know how to say pump. I'll get it all wrong. It'll just make things worse.
Things can't get much worse.
Sir.
I think you're right. And I always defend that character. I don't understand when people denigrate the character as something less than because of her reactions and because of the position they put the character in. It's the character. Right. Her reactions are normal. It's human, and it's what the character was designed to be. Someone coming into space with, you know, limited experience that was going to take a while to get their sea legs. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that production choice. There's nothing wrong with the writing on her character. There's nothing wrong with the character. There's nothing wrong with Linda Park. It's really well done across the board, and I think her story arc for 4 seasons is really well done. I just do not like when people say, "Well, that character was not given fair shift or just not given like the right stuff." I'm like, no, they did not make her. She wasn't weak. She wasn't. She was strong, and she was learning as she went all the way through. And when she screamed when she saw the aliens, that was normal. And by the way, right after that, she had one of the best lines in Enterprise when she says, "I don't think you need a translator." I mean, that was hilarious. It's one of the great lines ever. Because there's 15 dead bodies. I don't think you're gonna need a translator. Get me out of here. I mean, she's not a weak character, and there are people who denigrate the show by saying that the men wrote her as a weak character, and it's like that's not a weak character. That's a strong character being developed through 4 years of storytelling. I will not. I just won't have that. Won't listen to it. Love it. It's a great pick. Great pick.
Best guest performance.
Okay, best guest performance for me. So this is one of my big surprises.
Okay.
So I'm going to rattle off some secondary systems first. Okay, I got quite a few. Eric Avari in Terra Nova. Kelly Waymire in Strange New World. Randy Oglesby in Fight or Flight. Really good. I got Tony Lister Jr. as Clang in Broken Bow was really great.
Yeah.
And I almost picked Melinda Clark as Saren in Broken Bow. She's really good as the Suleiman. And I've always had a big crush on her. She's a really great actor. Really, really well done in that role. But I looked up this actor because I started thinking, I think this is the best acting.
I'm trying to think who's left. You've named all the big ones.
This one is underrated, and I never have looked her up. I never knew her name. I never thought to look her up. And when I looked her up, I found this cool little Star Trek nugget that I could not believe, and I love it when this happens.
Okay.
So the actor's name is Mary Carver, and it's Bernadette Fuller from Terra Nova.
Yep.
The old lady that they realized was the young girl in the photo.
I went through about 200 to 300 photographs before I found this. Look familiar, Nadette?
It's the overside, before the poison rain.
And what about the people?
Humans.
What were humans doing in your colony before it was destroyed? I think I can help answer that. You're sure none of these people look familiar? From the data we retrieved on this photograph, we're pretty sure this woman's name was Vera Fuller. Ring a bell?
It's the medicine they put in you. They're confusing your path. We need to leave.
Look closely. Vera Fuller. What do you remember?
Shale! I'm trying to trap you.
Vera had a daughter named Bernadette. She'd be about 75 now in Earth years.
Nadette? Bernadette? You say this is me?
They're trying to make us leave the underside. If we're not back before day, your crewmen will be gutted. Take us back.
And she gives a really vulnerable, strong performance. She's sick and she's a little bit cloudy because she's older, but she's brave, but she's vulnerable, and she's going to go up on the ship and try and get healthy. And she's trying to lead her son, Eric Avari, to be brave enough to kind of listen to these people and make these changes. Really strong performance from an older woman in that. I mean, she's probably about, 75 in that role, with the caked on digger makeup and everything. Really, really, really strong performance. So I'd never heard the actor before, Mary Carver. I looked her up. She had 63 acting credits on her resume. She was a regular on Simon & Simon, which I never really watched. but ton of acting. She started in the 50s, basically when TV was starting. A bunch of roles. She was on like Gunsmoke, Twilight Zone, Rockford Files. But here's the cool thing. She was married to Joseph Sargent, who directed the Corbomite Maneuver. Which whenever I see something like that, I'm like, wow, how the hell does the Star Trek connections never cease?
Yeah, right.
So she was married to him for like 15 years in the 50s and 60s when he directed the Corbomite Maneuver, which is basically the third episode of Star Trek.
Sure.
And I love that little note. But dude, she was really good in that performance, and I thought I gotta pick her. That's a really underrated performance that no one ever really calls out in that episode.
Yeah, she's great. I also love how they're like, oh, you have advanced lung cancer and it's spread to all different parts of your body, but no big deal. Couple of injections and you'll be all better.
They fixed it. They fixed that right up. Phlox fixed it right up.
Yeah. And I think it's also like, I don't think like characters having cancer was a thing that had been part of Star Trek before. So it's also one of those things where it's like, this is a bit more of sort of a
connection to the modern, but
exactly.
Also it's Star Trek.
It's still Star Trek because they're gonna, wave a light over it and make you better. But you have cancer.
I love that. So Mary Carver.
I love that pick. That's a really great one. I went with Kelly Waymire as Crewman Cutler in Strange New World. I love the really excited to be here vibe and there's just sort of like there's that energy and enthusiasm which you feel a bit less from some of the series regulars because like Archer to Paul Tucker, like their relationship in these first 5 episodes is kind of still in that really tense place. So you're not sort of seeing the like wonder of exploration in quite the same way. But that first scene of Strange New World where it's Cutler and Novakovich in the mess hall and the planet's out the window and then they go up to it and they're like, sort of trying to guess what kind of planet it is and why they're there and they just seem really like excited about everything. Like that's like it's just a really cool moment and then that kind of plays through the episode until things start going downhill and and then they end up where they end up. But I think it's a really nice performance and Kelly Waymire, who passed away at a shockingly young age, turns in a really great performance in this episode and every subsequent appearance in which she plays Cutler in this show.
How can you eat that stuff?
It's healthier than that.
At least it tastes like something.
I guess it just takes a more discriminating palate to appreciate Vulcan cuisine.
Did you know there were over 5,000 subspecies of termite on Arrakis Prime?
We were headed for a nebula.
Anybody hear about this?
Not a word.
Wonder if somebody lives there.
There's a lot of plant life. It might be an oxygen atmosphere.
What do you think? First contact?
I don't see any cities or agriculture.
Maybe they live underground or in the water.
Is that snow on those mountains?
You'd think the captain would make an announcement or something.
We'll call him.
Yes, tragic loss. I always say she just adds like this flair to every episode. She's just really, really great in every appearance. There's something vibrant about all of her appearances. And her campfire scenes in this one are really good. She had something special. She had a spark about her in her performances. And really sad, tragic loss to lose her and not have her be able to continue in that role and just lose her life so young. She was really special. I love that pick too because she was definitely on my short list.
Best production design. What do you got?
Okay, I'm going to go really boring. I have to do it. I'm going broad. I'm picking the NX-01.
I mean, it's on my list too. Like, how can you not? Yeah.
My second all-time favorite ship in the history of Star Trek. I love it. I have to pick it. And this gives me a chance to rip all the people who, right out of the gate, were shitting on the fact that, it looks too much like the Akira class. Shut the hell up. That is literally the stupidest comment I've ever heard. I'm not even going to waste my time on it. This ship is so awesome. I love it. It's one of the best designs ever. It was, God, it was just the first time I saw it, I was just like, this is perfect. It is such a great, it just feels like a rugged initial first step and connector. Like it's a natural design up to the NX-01. I just love it. I love it. I love it. And I can't believe it's been 25 years since it debuted. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's such a great ship design,
It's so good.
Yeah, it is just such a really nice ship, and it feels like, even though it's 30 years on from the original series, they really did sort of land the plane in terms of making it feel like it is in a lineage with the TOS Enterprise, but was also made in the early 2000s as opposed to being made in the 1960s. It just, everything about it works, and it doesn't have a bad angle. My favorite ship ever is the Enterprise D, and that ship has a lot of bad angles.
It has bad angles.
Yeah, it has real bad angles.
That's why it's not my favorite ship, but I love it. But it's not,
sure.
It's not there because of that exact reason. Because there's some angles where you're like, oh.
Yeah.
It's the fat one.
Yeah.
But we should give credit. Doug Drexler, man. He designed the hell out of this ship, and it really, really has stood the test of time. And I think it only gets more popular, every day.
Yeah, and this is like the easiest episode to pick production design stuff for, because it's like the first episode of Enterprise. So it's like, oh, do you pick the ship? Do you pick the bridge? Do you pick the phase pistol? Do you pick engineering? Do you pick?
There's so many things.
Yeah, to pick. and then there is some stuff from the episodes. You could pick the decon chamber. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not picking the decon chamber. What I ultimately went with is the environmental suits.
Oh, cool! Yeah,
that's great. So good. I mean, just in terms of being part of a lineage, feel like they fit pretty well with the TOS suits. They are, and they're clearly way more primitive than the, First Contact suits. Like the gold is a great choice for the coloring. The helmet, they're actually really well designed because the helmets are really wide so that you're still seeing the actor's face and you're getting the full performance that they're giving. All the little pipes and all that stuff, they're just really, really well done.
It's very cathartic when the glass window snaps shut and the light comes on. That's just I love that. It's a great design.
Yeah,
I love the EV suits, even though the air tubes on the back, those don't make any sense.
No sense at all. But
looks hella great.
Yeah, it really does. Best quiet moment.
Okay, best quiet moment. Yeah, this was actually easy for me. I went straight here and did not go away from it. It is from Broken Bow.
Yep.
This amazing moment where Trip and Archer are in the NX-01 inspection pod.
Yep.
And
this is on my list too.
They are just kind of buzzing around and they're just admiring how beautiful this ship is and talking about getting into it and cranking up to 4.5 and getting out past Jupiter. They can't wait. And then Trip kind of loses track and bumps into the ship and scratches the paint. And I freaking love this moment. And Archer's just looks at him like, are you kidding me, man? Did you just scratch our ship? And literally has to tell him, all right, great, you scratched the paint. I can't believe it. So great little funny, super quiet moment, and I love that they call back to it in Don't Stop.
Yes.
When the creepy space station is analyzing all their necessary repairs, and it highlights it needs to be painted there, and Archer's like, I thought I told you to repaint that. It's like, I never got around to it. I mean, it's such a great little quiet moment between those two, and shows their friendship, and and just the awe of that ship. It is an awesome quiet moment.
The ventral plating team says they'll be done in about 3 days.
Be sure they match the color to the nacelle housings.
Planning to sit on the hull and pose for some postcards?
Maybe. God, she's beautiful.
And fast. Warp 4.5 next Thursday.
Neptune and back in 6 minutes. Let's take a look at the lateral sensor array.
Give me a sec.
Slow down. There. Those are the ports that buckled during the last test. They need to be reinforced. Great. You scratched the paint.
Sorry.
Orbital 6.
Captain Archer, sir.
Go ahead.
Admiral Forrest needs you at Starfleet Medical right away.
Yeah, it's a great, love all of the, scenes of characters flying by their ships, and, this is part of that, pantheon that started with the motion picture.
Yep.
But it is a great moment, yeah, and it really, it's not just a great moment to show off the ship, but it's also a great moment to tell you about their relationship and how Trip and Archer are as people, and immediately sort of establish them as having a history, having a rapport. Yes, they're captain and chief engineer, but they're also friends. But there's also a little bit of there still is the sort of chain of command thing. So just, yeah, in a few short moments, it does a lot to tell you who these characters are.
Yeah, I love that moment. And before that, Tucker too was like, "You're gonna sit on the hole and pose for some postcards." I mean, it's really good. It's a great moment.
Yeah, this is on my list as well. Other ones I was thinking about was the moment also in Broken Bow where Archer is beamed aboard the Enterprise, and you just get this very quick reaction shot of him after he's been beamed in, where he's just like, what the hell just happened to me?
That's good.
That was really good. The first dinner scene where T'Pol cuts the breadstick with a knife, where she successfully does it and holds it up and is basically like, if you try hard enough, you can do anything you want to. That's really good. I also really we talked about it earlier, the awkward dinner scene in Fight or Flight is actually a really quiet scene. That whole scene, everybody's talking really quietly. And then the ghost story by the fire, that's another one I was sort of thinking about. That's also a quiet scene. The one I went with, though, is the tense, also Broken Bow, is the tense hospital scene between the Starfleet officers and the Vulcans that Archer kind of comes into. It's actually a surprisingly quiet scene. Aside from the moment where Archer sort of bursts into the kind of sickbay area and asks Phlox, is this man gonna die? It's a lot of
not actually, necessarily.
Yeah, quite reserved, just sort of conversations between these people, and it establishes so much so quickly. The sort of the tension that exists between the humans and the Vulcans, which is this sort of new thing that you're being exposed to, and why is it there? And the Admiralty, who they clearly want to just let Archer go and do his thing, but they also have to deal with the Vulcans, and then you've got the Vulcans, and it is also then punctuated by that slightly louder moment of Soval raising his voice and Archer saying, when Vulcans don't get their way, they're, they raise their voice. I think it's such a great scene, and it really tells you a lot about the show in a very short period of time.
Who was chasing him?
We don't know. They were incinerated in the methane explosion, and the farmer's description was vague at best.
How did they get here? What kind of ship?
They were using some kind of stealth technology. We're still analyzing our sensor logs.
I'd like to see those logs.
The Klingons made it very clear they want us to expedite this.
It happened on our soil.
That's irrelevant.
Ambassador, with all due respect, we have a right to know what's going on here.
You'll be apprised of all pertinent information.
And just who gets to decide what's pertinent information?
Admiral. John, think you know everyone?
Not everyone.
It's a Klingon.
A Klingon.
Where'd he come from?
Oklahoma.
A corn farmer named Moore shot him with a plasma rifle. Says it was self-defense.
Fortunately, Saval and I have maintained close contact with Kronos since the incident occurred.
Kronos.
It's the Klingons' homeworld.
This gentleman's some sort of a courier. Evidently, he was carrying crucial information back to his people.
When he was nearly killed by your farmer.
Ambassador Saval thinks it would be best if we push off your launch until we've cleared this up.
Well, isn't that a surprise? You'd think they would have come up with something a little more imaginative this time.
Sarcasm aside, Captain, the last thing your people need is to make an enemy of the Klingon Empire.
If we hadn't convinced them to let us take Klang's corpse back to Kronos, Earth would most likely be facing a squadron of warbirds by the end of the week.
Corpse? Is he dead? Excuse me. Is this man dead?
His autonomic system was disrupted by the blast, but his redundant neural functions are still...
Is he going to die?
Not necessarily.
Let me get this straight. You're going to disconnect this man from life support, even though he could live. Now, where's the logic in that?
Klang's culture finds honor in death. If they saw him like this, he'd be disgraced.
They're a warrior race. They dream of dying in battle. If you understood the complexities of interstellar diplomacy...
So that's your diplomatic solution, to do what they tell you? Pull the plug?
Your metaphor is crude, but accurate.
We may be crude, but we're not murderers. You're not going to let them do this, are you?
The Klingons have demanded that we return Klang immediately.
Admiral.
We may need to defer to their judgment.
We've been deferring to their judgment for 100 years.
John.
How much longer?
Until you've proven you're ready.
Ready to what?
To look beyond your provincial attitudes and your volatile nature.
Volatile? You have no idea how much I'm restraining myself from knocking you on your ass. These Klingons, they're anxious to get their man back. Fine. I can have my ship ready to go in 3 days. We'll take him back home. Alive.
This is no time to be imposing your ethical beliefs.
Dan?
What about your crew? Your comm officers in Brazil. You haven't selected a medical officer yet.
3 days, that's all I need.
Admiral.
We've been waiting for nearly a century, Ambassador. This seems as good a time as any to get started.
Listen to me, you're making a mistake.
When your logic doesn't work, you raise your voice? You've been on Earth too long.
I had a feeling their approach wouldn't sit too well with you. Don't screw this up.
I mean, it's an all-time great scene.
Yeah.
And I like this pick. I would never have thought of it, but there are really quiet moments because basically when it's tense and tense and not loud, but like tense with the Vulcans.
Yeah.
But then he turns back to Boris, almost like they're having a private conversation. He doesn't care if the Vulcans can hear him. And he's just like, Admiral, I can have my ship ready. And he's really calm and measured and quiet. I can have my ship ready in 3 days. He's like, 3 days. That's all I need.
Yep.
I said, what about your comm officer? 3 days. That's all
you don't even have a medical officer.
I know. I mean, it's good. It's a good pick. It's a good subtle pick because there's so many elements where he's just reserved and calm and quiet, even while telling T'Pol, you have no idea how reserved I am right now. Not knocking you on your ass or whatever he says. It's the best line ever. So good. Okay, that's an awesome pick.
Best loud moment.
Okay, I mean, there was a lot of options, but I had to go with this one, and we've talked about it a little bit, but I'm going to highlight it again, and this one's so visceral, and it's not just because of Hoshi's scream. It's the fight or flight moment and the discovery of the dead bodies.
some sort of hydraulics.
Whatever it is, it hasn't been here very long. Hoshi, where you going?
I don't think you need a translator!
Stay here.
Their bodies are being flushed out with some kind of fluid.
Are they all?
All dead, sir. I'm afraid so.
And obviously Hoshi Scream's a big part of it, but it's all the suction sound and the pumping and the hydraulics. And I just think the sound design on that is really good once you kind of figure out what's going on that ship, which they're harvesting these dead aliens for their triglobulin or something. And that sound, I mean, I do not like that sound, but
yeah, the like
it is,
shunk, shunk,
yeah,
shunk,
exactly,
shunk,
just that
yeah.
suction sound, and everybody kind of freaking out, trying to calm down, trying to get that's a great scene. That is an intense. It's got a little bit of horror, a little bit of body horror. It's a mystery. You don't really know what's going on. It's really well filmed and shot. And I guess gonna say it again, the sound design, the visceral suction sound and pumping of those hydraulics is my loud moment, because that thing just reverberated in my ears, and Hoshi screaming on top of it made it my moment. That's my loud moment.
Yeah, I love that. It really, I think I said this earlier in the episode, but that element of it feeling scary, you know,
it
like
felt scary.
Yeah, space feeling scary, and like it's not this sort of well-trodden Federation full of familiar people and familiar things, that you're not very far out from Earth, and there's scary stuff out here that you don't fully understand and don't really end up understanding by the end of the episode.
Yeah, and by the way, and then punctuated again by, I don't think you need a translator. I mean, which is such an underrated line. So, really good stuff in an underrated episode.
So my loud moment, I kind of locked in on this one very, very quickly in watching these 5 episodes, and 5 episodes later, it was still like the pick for me, and it's Broken Bow begins with a very quiet scene where no man has gone before, and he's painting the nacelles. And then you cut to Broken Bow, Oklahoma, and the music is loud, and they're running through the cornfield. And
Farmer Brown.
Yep, and it's
Farmer Moore, sorry.
Yeah, you're running through the cornfield, and you know they go into the silo, and then he jumps out the top, he turns around, he shoots it, and the whole thing explodes.
That is good.
Drop your weapon! I mean it! More, I don't understand a word you're saying, but I guarantee you I know how to use this!
And then Farmer Moore comes out, and you know they're like
Blast
screaming
him
at
with
each
a
other,
shotgun.
and and then he shoots him. And like it is a punchy start to an episode of Star Trek. And it's also, again, it's like it's telling you that this is a slightly different show. We've never really seen Earth outside of San Francisco in Star Trek before. I mean, we've been to Paris a couple of times, but it's, and we're in Broken Bow, Oklahoma, and it's a Klingon running through a cornfield, and you've got these new aliens that you've never seen before, and, they sort of show off their special abilities, and then the corn silo blows up, and then the farmer comes out, and he's got his, like, little, kind of, like, plasma rifle, but it's not a phaser, and then he confronts the Klingon and he has no idea what he's looking at because humans have never encountered Klingons before. Like and the music's pumping the whole way through. It's like it's a really energetic scene to effectively kick off the pilot episode.
That's a great pick. It's a great pick. I love, and I always remember that line with the farmer just yelling, "I know how to use this." I mean, it was really good. It is loud, and that effect of the silo blowing up, really works. It really works. And just Clang screaming and yelling is really good. I mean, it's really good. It's a great opening, and loud. It's an awesome pick. And it goes straight from the beach to that. Yeah,
yep. Straight from. Yep.
No, I love it.
Yeah, it's like 30 seconds into the episode.
Yeah, that is fantastic. I love it. Excellent pick. Good, loud moment to kick it off.
Captain, I've reconfigured our warp field to match the chronometric readings of the Borg sphere.
Recreate the vortex, Commander.
Aye, sir.
All decks report ready. Helm standing by. Mr. Data, laying the course for the 24th century. I suspect our future is there waiting for us. Course laid in, sir. Make it so.
All right, well, looking at these 5 episodes and thinking about the sort of entire Star Trek franchise story, what do you think these 5 episodes add to the narrative? How do they connect to other Star Trek? Like, are there things they set up or things they pay off? Like, how do you think these 5 episodes sort of nest within 964 episodes of Star Trek?
Okay, so I knew this question was coming, and I love this. I mean, first I want to say, I love this angle of the show. I love this section, and I think it's going to be one of the best parts of Warp Factor 5 moving forward from week to week. I think it's a really cool way to kind of frame some of these episodes and these conversations. But having said that, I think unless you have something super clever to kind of surprise me with, I'm thinking these 5 episodes might be 5 of the more disconnected with the 60-year lore of Trek. Because, I mean, obviously, Broken Bow is a huge pilot, and that reverberates. But the other 4 episodes don't exactly have, like, a lot of story threads that really connect with anything in Trek that we really ever see again. And, I mean, and unless you're talking about, like, early Foundation stuff of, like, T'Pol, Trip, Archer, you can talk about that stuff. You can talk a little bit about Klang and the Klingon and Archer and his relationships there, but that's just within Enterprise in the series. And I was just trying to think, like, beyond Enterprise and beyond some of that development stuff, there's really the only thing I could really come up with, and not to be all of the moment, but if I was going to stretch on one thing from a production standpoint, and I've been kind of a little single-minded on this lately, but I can see the lore of Broken Bow in the pilot episode of Starfleet Academy Kids These Days so well.
Sure.
And for me, it's one of the reasons I really love that episode. It's one of the first big live-action pilots. I mean, it's literally the first big live-action pilot in 25 years that captures that 90s Trek zeitgeist for me, with like extended runtime. It's a big series launch. It's a big introduction of a new ship. It's a big, beautiful, they had this big, beautiful exposition-laden recruitment walk and talk in the grass scene that I love with Admiral Vance and Admiral and Chancellor Ake, which is very similar to Archer and Hoshi in Brazil. I mean, I love Broken Bow and I love Kids These Days, and I feel like there's a real kinship between those 2 episodes. But Yeah, beyond that, I kind of was drawing a blank. I'm not sure what you came up with.
I've got one really big thing, and it's just this tiny, tiny, tiny moment, but it's like, oh, this is the kind of thing you can do with this. And that is in Strange New World, where T'Pol refers to the planet as Minshara class, an M-class planet, where it's just like for hundreds and hundreds of episodes,
Oh my God, that's
you've
such
had
a
it
good one.
drilled into you that habitable planets in Star Trek, that there's a, letter typology of planets, class M, class L, class D, and M class is the one you want. And it's revealed in this episode, in this throwaway moment, that it's the Vulcan like planet typology, and it's Minshara class, and it's just like
Love that. This is where it started.
Yeah, it's just like that little detail that kind of just adds so much to, because whichever writer it was who came up with the idea of, oh, it's an M-class planet. They pulled that out of thin air. They were like, well, what sounds good, right? Like class M, great. Put that down, But now another writer has picked that up and added to it. And now you can kind of sort of see from that the whole way that like 24th century and 23rd century, the Federation is sort of set up, that there are roots of both human stuff and Vulcan stuff that runs all throughout it. And in this episode, it's presented as being like, she calls it Minshara class, and that's a thing that Vulcans do. Humans would never think to call it that, because that's what Vulcans do. And yet, 200 years in the future, everybody calls it a Class M planet. So it's just like it's just one of those cool little details that's like, it adds so much to your understanding of the franchise as a whole.
Okay, that is a great continuity point that runs through 964 episodes of Trek in 60 years. Okay, I thought of another one then too, because that's a great point, because we got the Temporal Cold War, of course.
Totally, yes.
Which has that awesome, I mean, obviously it gets referenced a lot. We don't have Daniels yet.
Yeah.
But we obviously have Temporal Cold War stuff in Discovery that plays out not only in the first two seasons, but in I guess it's mostly in season 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
But Time Agent Yor.
Yep.
The temporal agent Yor that Daniels kind of showcases. I mean, that's a direct correlation to the temporal Cold Wars, and
sure is
the whole Georgiou kind of eventual placement of her back into wherever she went. I don't know where she went, because I don't know what happened to her. And
right. Yeah, she stepped into the Guardian of Forever, and then we never saw her again. We're still waiting.
Yeah,
we're still waiting.
But yeah, temporal Cold War obviously has levels that now play all the way through. Yep.
Yeah.
That's good.
And then you mentioned it also, but like the sort of like early Earth spaceflight stuff. Trip almost calls it the United Earth Space Probe Agency in Terra Nova when he's talking about the colony ship going out. I think he calls it the like Space Agency. That's like as close as they get.
That's good.
But like that idea of, there being this period of time where Earth is kind of taking its, first really tentative steps out into the stars, and it's not sort of settled as this kind of Starfleet thing, and there's trial and error that goes into it. Like, it's really interesting to kind of see some of that play out, because it is, where by the time particularly you get to, your TNG's, Deep Space Nine and Voyagers, you're so far from that in, like in terms of the Federation and Starfleet and everybody kind of knowing exactly what they're doing out in space and why they're there and what they're getting out of it. Like it is great to kind of do that, like back to basics kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm convinced this section of the show is going to be really cool each week. And next week's going to be really easy because you got the Andorian incident. So it's going to
totally.
You have Jeffrey Combs, you got Andorians, you got all kinds of fun stuff to talk about.
Well, and there's also like this was a new thing in that it didn't kind of manifest itself in previous episodes, but it does kind of recast a lot of what you know about it, which is the tension with the Vulcans starting right here. A lot of fans, when they saw that for the first time, they were super resistant to the idea.
That's the most obvious one. This one resets the whole Vulcan narrative
Right.
that we knew. Well, we're not doing a very good job here. This is the obvious one we should be talking about. This resets the lore of Vulcan.
Yeah.
Vulcan lore that up until this point, up until this episode, humans and Vulcans were fast friends forever and ever, and we never knew otherwise. And then this episode was like, oh, they were strained early on.
Yeah.
And then we learned this whole backstory, and it's awesome. And it adds so many great layers. So this is the beginning of that.
Yeah. And a lot of fans really did not like it when it first came on. But
a lot of fans need to be patient and let the show tell their story.
Right.
Which is what I did, and was very satisfied instead of just being a freaking whiner and a nitpicker. Just watch the show. How about that idea? People just watch the show and then to make a decision when the show's over. I'll shut up. I know you'll never have me back on. Okay.
Transfer of data is complete.
All right, well, that's all the time we've got for this episode of Warp Factor 5. You've heard our ratings for these 5 episodes, but I want to hear from you. What ratings do you give Broken Bow through Terra Nova? Let me know via Blue Sky and Threads, where you can reach me at Alex T. Perry, or X, where I'm at Alexander T. Perry, or you can email the show at warpfactor5@trekcore.com. Make sure you also tell me your favorite series regular performance, guest performance, production design element, quiet moment, and loud moment, and we'll cover all the feedback we get at the end of each season. Jim, thank you so much for joining me as my inaugural guest for Warp Factor 5. How can people contact you if they want to continue the conversation?
You can contact me on at TrekRanks on Blue Sky, and you can listen to the TrekRanks podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. And download us and listen to us. It's the podcast about all the things we love about Star Trek. 230 episodes, going strong. Almost, I think it's 9 years, almost 10 years. And also TrekRanks.com. Track us down. We love Star Trek.
And they never get carbon dated.
Our episodes never get carbon dated. They are always current. Doesn't matter if you listen to episode 50 or episode 182 or episode 230. It'll be like you're listening to an episode that was recorded yesterday.
Yeah, so somebody
trust me.
Whose other Star Trek podcast is one where after like 3 or 4 weeks the episodes age like spoiled milk. I'm actually kind of excited to have a show where people could discover this episode 3 years after it comes out and still get something out of it, rather than being like, what are those people talking about?
Very true. Yes, this one will be the same.
And if you enjoyed this show, please consider leaving us a 5-star review on your podcast player of choice. And for all your Star Trek news needs, including our extensive media archives of all things Star Trek, I hope you will keep your sensors locked to trekcore.com. Well, thank you, Jim. Thank you to all of my listeners. And until next time, take us to Warp Factor 5.
I hope nobody is in a big hurry to get home. Starfleet seems to think that we're ready to begin our mission. I understand there's an inhabited planet a few light years from here.
We've detected it, sir. Sensors show a nitrogen sulfide atmosphere.
Probably not humanoids.
That's what we're here to find out. Prepare to break orbit and lay in a course.
I'm reading an ion storm on that trajectory, sir. Should I go around it?
We can't be afraid of the wind, Ensign. Take us to Warp 4.
Warp Factor 5 is a production of TrekCore.com and owned by Trapezoid Media, LLC.